I think we have started. Okay.
Yeah, we have started. Okay. Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go ahead.
Okay, Chad. Is my screen visible to all?
Yeah.
Okay. So DSC GTBIT presents you with the webinar on open source and Android. So let me introduce myself. Hi everyone. I'm Akanksha Bhasin. I'm DSC lead at GTBIT. I'm also a voice and web developer and Shiro's campus lead at my college. I've taken around 10 plus sessions on Actions and Google around various colleges. Talking about my work, I have recently interned at Shiro's along with my friend Divyansh. I have built a voice app on Google Assistant. You just need to say, talk to Shiro's, and you will get to know more about it. So next we come to what's DSC. DSC is a platform, an organization started by Google developers with the motto of solving real life problems, and it focuses more on enhancing technology at their campuses. So let me show you. So here's the DSC portal. We also have featured story. We have DSC chapters all across India, South Africa, Indonesia, and they're constantly increasing. Google also features your stories on the DSC portal if you do something extraordinary. Like we have some featured stories.
Can you tell something about DSC? Why to join DSC and why to be a member of DSC?
Yeah, sure. So we should join DSC as Google developers helps us a lot. They give us resources like we have cloud study jams, we have sessions on Android, Flutter, and we are also introducing new technologies in our campuses like AR, VR, and other stuffs. And DSC not only focuses on the technical part, but it also focuses on the design thinking part. Whenever you build a product or you pitch a product to a company, they also think about the ideation process, how you will promote it to the different partners and how you will get funds from the companies. So it focuses on the overall aspect. So DSC also has one program like project showcase. Like we have other societies, they focuses on the technical part, but we also have a project showcase where you, if you showcase your project, and if it is up to the mark, Google also supports you either technically or gives you some guidance or how can you pitch your product to the real life and market and all.
And I have heard that you have went to DSC lead as a DSC lead to Goa. Can you tell me about your experience there?
Yeah, it was really a phenomenal experience going to Goa. I would like to thank all the Google company. We got to interact with Googlers. We have gala night, we have dinner. We played many games there, sing songs, dancing. Overall, it was like a holiday trip, and plus, it was more of a motivational session. I got to interact with people like founders, investors, and overall,
So
काफी
apart
बढ़िया
from
था.
DSC, so apart from DSC, we can start with our open source and talk something about open source.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so let's start with open source now. Okay. So these are the, and first of all, I would like to introduce you to my friend Abhishek Kumar Sa. He's a part of the DSC team. He's an Android developer and open source enthusiast. He has also been a top contributor in GirlScript Summer of Code. Plus, he's a great mentor and has mentored a lot of students in the GirlScript hacking project. And you must follow his channel. Just like and share with Code with Abhishek. It's an initiative started by him, and these are some of the certificates of recognition that he has got as a top contributor there. And even he has also mentored student in a project called Health Calculator. And so now let's start in and diving deep into the open source. So what's open source? It's simple enough. It refers to something that can be modified because of its design, and it's publicly available. You can access it, you can modify it, and even enhance it. Like it's like an open source software usually developed as a public collaboration and is made freely available. And why it's beneficial? Because as a contributor you could learn about how the real life projects work upon and what's the code base, and you can see other people's contribution also. And as a project owner, you got a complete ready project in a small period of time, and it's the best way to enhance your knowledge. So here's a clip. May the source be with you. Okay. So now let's come to the application application process. So you need to find a project. Then you need to contact mentors and ask a lot of questions from them. Never hesitate to ask questions from them. Even if you are beginner and don't know anything about the open source or how to choose projects, just join the GitHub channel. GitHub is a channel where you could interact with mentors and other participants out there. You could ask multiple questions or doubts you have, and then get started with making contributions. And next there's an application also. So how does this this whole process work? You need to pick up bug is basically an error that occurs in the code, and get familiar with the contributing process, the code review process, the whole code base. Initially, it may take you a long time to understand the whole code. It may take around 3-4 days to understand the whole code base, but never give up. And then you must learn about how the architecture and design patterns they are working upon. And how can you contribute? So you can contribute in multiple ways, be it documentation, bug finding, bug fixing. These are the errors that occurs in the code. Like if there's an error of like comma, or there's some major error, that can also be counted as a contribution. We have you could write automated tests, writing tutorials, writing blogs, translation, localization, and community involvement is the most important part. Uh, Apart from contributing in the code, you can also help your fellow mates, and it will increase the community bonding. And next comes outreach. So there are specific open source organizations that focuses only on women. So some are like outreach. We have Rails Girls Summer of Code, like for Samrita, etc. Outreaching. Outreach is a 3 months program by Software Freedom Conservancy. 15 plus participating organizations are there. Eligibility, you must be an underrepresented group in open source, might be an LGBT community, or you must be a woman. It runs twice in a year, summer and winter. and you get lot of swag, stickers, and plus point is you get $5,500 stipend from them and a
That's
conference
huge.
travel.
That's huge
Yes,
amount.
yeah,
That's
that's really huge amount. Okay,
and that is especially for girls.
you have other for boys too. Don't worry.
Okay.
Okay, so you can go to outreachy.org for more information. Next comes the Rails Girl Summer of Code. It's also a 3-month internship program. Eligibility 18 plus. You must be a woman or be a part of LGBT community. It runs once in a year. This year it couldn't be functional, but from next year it will be functional, and its stipend is based on location. If you are from India or any some country wise, it has stipend. And for more information, you could go to railsgirlsummerofcode.org. Now, making our first open source contribution. Now, I hand over to Abhishek. He will continue further.
Thank you, Akanksha. Thank you for such a great introduction on open source.
Yeah, welcome.
Basically, open source is you can say it is a learning platform. The more you contribute, the more you get to learn. It is a very important part of learning process. So going down to open source contribution, I want to tell something about my contribution in GirlScript Summer of Code. Akanksha, can you show me the slide of?
Yeah, sure.
And I want to share my screen also, if you can.
Now, is it visible now?
Thank you. So first of all, I am going to talk about GirlScript Summer of Code. GirlScript Summer of Code is a 3-month long open source contest. It is conducted by GirlScript Foundation, as you can see here. In this contest, you can take part easily. Unlike GSOC, you do not need to have a predefined selection process. You can directly register for this contest and take part in this contest. There are multiple projects on this contest, but you have to make sure that you must register for this contest in the early week of January, most probably. So first of all, let's go into the timeline of GSOC.
Okay. Right.
I think, yeah. So in this month, 4th of Jan was the registration process, and it closes around 10th Feb. So most probably you must register between these dates, and then you can select a project of your choice. See, choosing a project is a difficult task. You must look through different aspects of the project, whether you like the project, whether you are comfortable in that project, or how well you know about that tech stack. So being an Android developer, I choose an Android project. Let me show an Android project of GirlScript Summer of Code. So being an Android developer, I choose these 2 projects as my tech stack as being an Android developer. So first of all, you must go through their GitHub link, which is this. See, this is the project of GirlScript Summer of Code images to PDF. In GitHub, all this code bases are here. You can easily find their codes. And the first thing that you have to do is to join their Slack channel. Slack channel or whatever the communication they do, you can join there easily. And you can go through the issues. See, as for ease, they have divided the issues in different labels. Objection. As the issues are divided upon different labels, you can easily find issues of easy, medium, beginner, good first issues, GSOC. Let's find a GSOC issue. See, it is one of the issue. You can see the issue and then make contribute. I will go into the contribution later. First of all, let's walk about I want to show something about my open source journey. Here's a blog of my open source GirlScript Summer of code. You can go through this. Basically, it is a 3-month long open source contribution. And the two most important thing that you must know before an open source contribution is Git and GitHub. You must be aware of both this event or both this tag. You can see. So being a part of this, how does this work? As I've told, you have to go to the GitHub site and find the issue and work upon that issue and submit a pull request. If you have successfully submitted a pull request, your scoreboard will be updated. And based upon your scores, they have many things like scholarship, like goodies and swags. Yeah, the top 3 performance will get cash prize, of course, and the other performance will get, upon their contributions, a letter of recommendation or T-shirt, swags, or some PR merch. They will receive a digital certificate. So this was a brief introduction of GirlScript Summer of code. So I think I should tell something. Can you show me the slide, Akanksha?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Previous one. Technical writer. Yeah. Open source is not only for developers. Being a technical writer, you can also contribute to open source. Google has introduced this amazing contest named Google Season of Docs. We all know that documentation is an important part of open source project. And to maintain documentation, you need someone who can maintain them properly. So they have introduced this contest so that technical writers get connected with their open source project and contribute to them. So it was introduced first time in 2019. That's great. And it also signifies the importance of good documentation, which is very, very important for a newcomer or for a beginner or for anyone to know about their project. For GSOC, for Google Season of Docs, you have to have some work experience. Like if you are a content writer or if you have some experience as a technical writer, you can apply for this. And if you are a blogger, if you frequently write some blogs, you can take part in Google Season of Docs. And I have also took part in this Google Season of Docs, but unsuccessfully, I was not able to do anything great. But still, I got to learn many things new. I got to learn how to write good blogs. And by this process, I know about Noteworthy, the journal blog, and also got to work with an hackathon. So this was a great platform for open source for technical writers. So now we can move to Google Summer of Code. Google Summer of Code. It is the most famous and most important contest organized by Google. And it is most common among college students because only college students can take part in Google Summer of Code as a student. As a mentor, you can easily take part. But as a developer or as a student, you have to be a college student. So unlike Google GirlScript Summer of Code, Google Summer of Code has a great selection process. You cannot easily make to Google Summer of Code. To take part in Google Summer of Code, you have to do 2 things. 1, contribution. 2, a great proposal. You can see 1 contribution. Yeah. 1 contribution. Yeah. To be in Google Summer of Code, you have two important keys are for selection. First one is a proposal, and second is contribution. Contribution is most important, and you should start contributing in one of the organization which you like and which is of your interest as early as possible. I know students who start preparing for Google Summer of Code in the month of November or December itself, or even in September, August. Akanksha, am I right?
Yes.
You are also willing to take part in Google Summer of Code 2020.
Yeah, sure.
So you have to start contributing in your open source project as easily as you can, as fast as
October and November generally people start with.
Yeah, but many people start on July, August itself only. As soon as this year Google Summer of Code ends, they start preparing for next year. So you see how great is the competition. Competition is so vast in Google Summer of Code, and you have to be a contributor. And I know some people who have in almost 70 to 80 pull requests merged in a single project. You can say in a single project, 80 to 90, yeah, 60 to 70 pull requests. That's huge amount of pull requests. Even 5 to 10 pull requests are very great, but 70 to 80 pull requests are so great. So we have to start because competition is so high.
And even I have heard in FOSS Asia, there are openings are very less and the students are triple times.
I have applied for FOSS Asia also, but there were so many people in the competition, so I could not make it. And one more important thing to be a part of Google Summer of Code, choose your organization carefully. By carefully, I mean first, out of your interest. Second, which you can easily find their source code, or you can get friendly with their source or their source pattern. Third and most important, see the competition. Usually there are some projects where 100 people are trying to be a part of that project. And there are some projects where only 5 to 6 students are competing for it. So if you are competing with 5 to 6 students, that is an easy process. And if you're contributing 100% at a time on a single project, that will be a tough work. So you have to start contributing. And by contributing, I mean to say, let's walk into Google Summer of Code. Can you share my screen? Yeah, it's visible. Let me talk about Google Summer of Code. See, basically timeline. This year's timeline was, let me walk. Google opens, Google tells about their, is this visible? Hello? Yeah. Hello? Hello? Akanksha? Okay, no problem. I think through the timeline, you can go through the organization's timeline. It's usually the organization's applications open in 16, but students used to prepare from September, October itself. But a good time to prepare for Google Summer of Code, according to my view, is from November to December. You get to know about the project. So go through their organizations. Usually, those organizations which comes in past 3 years, they are more likely to come in the upcoming year. So choose your organization on that basis. Suppose you want to go with me first, one of the organizations that I was willing to contribute. The MIFOS initiative. Okay, choose any project as you like. Firstly, I will go. Yeah. See, by opening this, go through the project list, view their projects. This was the previous year's project. Go through their source code, find their source code on GitHub, and go through their site. go through the open source project and find a project of your interest. You can easily navigate to their project on GitHub and find their projects. Let me open GitHub. OpenMF. Yeah. This was one of the OpenMF, the Minfos initiative project. You can find the issues. As of now, you can go through the issues. So to start contributing in open source, go through the issues. Find an issue of your interest, which you think, and if it is not claimed by anyone, you can take that issue and solve that in your local and submit a pull request. So I will tell something about GitHub as of now, Git and GitHub. So for Git, let me tell you something about if you want to create a project. New project, new text document. Suppose I have added first. Open Git bash here. I will walk through some of the command how to successfully upload a Git repository on GitHub. First of all, initialize Git. Empty Git repository is being initialized in that directory. First of all, to upload something, you have to initialize Git in that directory. Git init is being initialized. Git init. Then we can check the status. You can see there is a file text1.txt. It is tagged by Git. So first of all, you have to send this message to Git that there is a file which is being untracked. For that, you have to type the command git add space dot. And after adding that file in green color, that means this file has been successfully tracked by Git. See, Git keeps the record of your local directory, of your local machine, and something that is uploaded on GitHub, that you must connect the Git with GitHub. That you have to submit remote, you have to add remote, add origin. So by this term origin, I want to tell you something about origin and upstream. See, origin is something that you see on this local directory. That is, there are three concepts: local, origin, and upstream. Local is something that is on your local computer. Origin is that is on your GitHub. Upstream is that repository from which you have forked code in your own repository. So git remote add origin. So first of all, I will create a Git repository on GitHub. New repository. Make this private as of now. And I will copy this HTTP. I will add git remote add origin git HTTP that it is connected to that GitHub. And it is connected. Now, Git is connected to GitHub. Adding a file and checking is adding the file and updating on Git, you have to send this file on GitHub. For that, you have to use the command git post. I think my directory is not compiled because I think I logged in with some other account, so that might be so. But after doing this git post origin master, it is successfully connected to Git. Git was a brief introduction of Git and GitHub. And apart from this, in open source, I also want to tell something about if you are keen interested in GitHub or Google Season of Code, you can walk through this um, Medium article, which is written by one of my mentor, Harshit Dwivedi. And you can go through this Medium article. He has explained it in very well, how to take part in Google Summer of Code and how to contribute in open source. You can go through this completely. And he is a great mentor too. So, yeah. So is the QA
screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, apart from 4 important components of Android, I want to talk about activity, service, broadcast receiver, and content provider. See, activity is something that you see on a screen. Suppose you open a Gmail app. All the thing that you see in the inbox, that is an activity. It is a UI visible to user. And service is something that is not visible to user. It works in backend. Suppose, for example, you can talk about media player. You are using you are listening a media song and you are not running that app. Still that song is being played. That work on service. So service is a long backend process without any user interface. And about broadcast receiver, suppose if you have any suppose your phone is connected to a charger, automatically the charging point get transferred into connected and the symbol change. How does that device know about that a charging point was connected? This gives the broadcast receiver gives the message to the system that something happened, someone connected to the device. This notification sent by broadcast receiver to the device is used. And about content provider, suppose 2 apps are interacting. Suppose you take WhatsApp and the contact app. You can see contacts in WhatsApp also. Contacts directly doesn't send its data to WhatsApp. It sends via content provider. 2 apps cannot directly interact with each other for data. They have to go through content provider for transferring data. So this was about 4 important components of Android. And I think, can you show me the seed slides? Hello? Hello? Basically, apart from this, I want to talk something about Firebase. Firebase is for developers, whether you are an Android developer, iOS developer, or a web developer. You can use Firebase in any of your in any of your developing platform. It is independent of all the languages like Java, JavaScript, Kotlin, or even Dart. You can use in Unity also. And Firebase just helps the developer a lot. It gives an ease of connecting with database, authentication, providing machine learning features, and different other activity services are being provided by Firebase. So you must integrate, if you are a developer, once in your life, you must integrate Firebase in your app. And it was a very cool thing that was initiated by Google. So this was a brief talk about Firebase. Hello, Akanksha. Hello.
If you have any questions, you can post it in the chats. So Abhishek, one person was asking that how to select projects in the GSOC.
See, as I told, selecting project is one of the important things because you must select project based on your tech stack, what tech you are comfortable with, and must go through their uh, Slack channel or GitHub channel or in the IRC channel and see how people interact there. Are you comfortable with them, or how is their working in the environment, or how is their competition? As I told, there are some organizations where hundreds of people are taking part and competing with each other. But there are some organizations where 5 to 6 people are only working. So in that case, competition is easy. You can go with that easily. And so you should choose on that basis on your tech stack and see the competition. How is the competition and the tech stack, and go through their code base, how well you are comfortable with their code. So on this basis, you select and make sure you start contributing from the month of December itself. The more early you start contributing, there are more probability to be in the part of Google Summer of Code. And for Google Summer of Code, one more thing proposal, and that will be a part of in the month of March you have to get. But before you start contributing and interact with the project maintainer or with the head of that organizations, the more you interact, the more they will get to know you, and the more easily they will accept your proposal, and you have high probability to be in GSOC. And apart from GSOC, I can say GSOC doesn't give any stipend. It gives a great learning platform, and it also gives a referral to Google. Although you cannot directly go to Google, but it becomes a bit easy for resume selection process. You can go through different rounds and can easily take part in that.
I guess
So
all
GSOC,
the I guess all the GSOCers get a validity for 6 years that they can apply for Google internships.
yeah, for
Okay.
6 years.
6 years. I think
6
so.
years. 6 years.
I'm not sure about exactly, but I've heard about this. Okay. And another question was, how does open source internships help you in getting high paying jobs in the future?
See, as I told, open source is a trending place, trending environment. Every organization keeps their source code open so that a developer can contribute to them and an organization gets a better code. It's both a developer and the organizations. It is beneficial for both. And the more you interact with that organization, they will know you better. And if they know you better, you have more probability to be in that company. Usually, most of the open source organizations have their own companies, and they are interlinked with many great companies. So you can, with that referral, they usually see a GitHub ID, See, I want to show you something on GitHub.
And Abhishek, we also have a question by Weber. What does a good student proposal look like?
Okay. See, first of all, this is the contribution list. The more green you see here, the more you are contributing, and the more easily an organization will accept your resume or can understand you that you are a good open source contributor. So try to contribute on a regular basis and contribute daily by in any of the organization that you like. Yeah, what was the other question?
Okay. There's a question that what does a good student proposal look like?
In the student proposal look like.
And
So
in which organization have you contributed in the past?
I've contributed on two organizations, FOSS Asia and the MIFOS initiative, and I want to show a good proposal. One of my proposal I want to show you. I will go through. It is a Google season of docs proposal, and more or less it is same as Google Summer of Code because you have to follow a same any implementation. So basically, first of all, describe your project's abstract and what is the current status of that project. If that project is new, try to implement some of the new ideas that you are going to implement in that project and to show the current status. And apart from this, you have to go through complete each and minute detail in the implementation, followed by a great timeline. Timeline is the most important section that is looked by a project maintainer or who is going to accept you. They see that in this time period how well you are going to contribute and what all are your planning. If they find your planning very good, then it would be more easily that they will accept. Even though, but still the most important thing will be of contribution. Contribution, you cannot substitute contribution with good proposal. It's like hand to hand. A good contribution, a good proposal, and very good number of contributions. These two are important factor to be in GSOC. Hello. Hello. So, apart from this, I can also talk something about activity lifecycle, and for that, in the context of Android developer, I know that many people don't like Android because Flutter is in the trend, but if we can say stay with basic Android with Kotlin, it still has a market. And I won't compare Android with Flutter because Flutter is a great thing. But if you have been in Android, you must continue Android and be a part of that Android as long as you can. Because there are still many, any organization that require great Android apps. And if you have good knowledge of Android, you can make great apps. So of activity lifecycle, I want to show about this. One of my Medium blog. So activity on this image. See, as I told you, activity is a single UI component which user interact. So on device, sometimes you open your screen, sometimes you minimize it, sometimes you forcefully kill that screen, or sometimes you destroy the app. So on that basis, different calls are being there. On create, on starting, on create, followed by on start, on resume are the methods being called. And after suppose you move from one app, one screen to another screen, on pause button is being called. On pause function is being called. And if you want to destroy your app, or if you want to close completely your app, then on destroy, on stop are being called. If the activity is not destroyed, if it been paused, then to restart the app, on restart, on start, on resume are the methods are being called. So this was a brief introduction of activity lifecycle. And any more questions, Akanksha?
So thank you everyone for joining us. We will be back with some more sessions on different technologies soon.
Thank you.